Hello, English learners! Welcome back to the English Ears podcast. I'm Hazel, and today I've got something special for you. 5 short stories in one smooth listening session. This episode is perfect for A2 to B1 learners. If you already know the basics and want to understand real English more naturally, you're in the right place. Let's begin with the first story. It's about a girl and a monster. Not the kind that hides under your bed, but one that whispers in your ear when you're nervous. You'll hear how it showed up, stuck around, and how she learned to deal with it.
It started when I was 15. I was at a birthday party, standing in the corner of a crowded room. Everyone was laughing and talking, but I felt out of place. My friend waved me over to join a group, but my feet felt glued to the floor. Suddenly, my chest felt tight, and my hands turned cold. My heart was pounding, and I couldn't catch my breath. That's when I saw it. A small creature, no bigger than a kitten, appeared near my feet. It had sharp, glowing eyes and a constant frown. It climbed onto my shoulder and whispered,
"What if they don't like you? What if you say something stupid?"
I froze. My friend called my name again, but I shook my head and pretended not to hear. The room felt louder, the lights brighter. I left early, my heart still racing. That was the first time I met the anxiety monster. It didn't leave after that night. It followed me everywhere, at school, at home, even during simple moments like walking down the street. At first, it was small and quiet. But over time, it grew bigger and louder. It sat on my bed at night, filling my mind with endless what-ifs. It clung to my shoulder during conversations, making me overthink every word. One day, I couldn't take it anymore. "Why are you here?" I asked it. The monster tilted its head.
"I'm here to protect you. I make sure you don't fail. I warn you so you can avoid mistakes."
"But you're making everything worse," I replied. The monster didn't answer. At first, I tried ignoring it. I thought if I pretended it wasn't there, it would go away. But that only made it louder and harder to avoid. The monster grew bigger, its whispers turning into shouts. I knew I had to try something else. I started small. When it whispered,
"What if you embarrass yourself?"
I whispered back, "That's okay. Nobody's perfect." When it said,
"What if people think you're weird?"
I told myself, the right people won't care. It felt strange at first, talking back to the monster, but little by little, it started to work. Some days were harder than others. On bad days, the monster grew louder, filling my mind with doubts and fears. Instead of fighting it, I listened. I let it say what it needed, but didn't let it control me. I noticed it thrived in moments where I felt unsure or out of control. Recognizing this gave me power, and I reminded myself I wasn't in danger. I practiced deep breathing, grounding myself in the present moment. I'd focus on simple things, like the feeling of my feet on the floor or the sound of birds outside. Slowly, the monster grew smaller. It didn't disappear. It never really does. But now, it's manageable. It sits quietly in the corner, no longer controlling my thoughts. Sometimes, it tries to whisper, but I know what to do. I remind myself that I'm stronger than my fears. Living with the anxiety monster isn't easy, but I've learned to see it differently. Instead of an enemy, I see it as a part of me that just needs reassurance. By understanding it, I found a way to live with it, and sometimes, even without it.
Now for the second story. It's about a girl's first day of college, full of nerves, wrong turns, and one unexpected moment that changes everything.
The day had finally arrived, my first day of college. I had dreamt about this moment for years, imagining myself confidently walking across campus, meeting new people, and starting fresh. There I was in my dream college. I checked my schedule again, saying to myself, okay, English 101, room 203. Easy enough, right? Wrong. I somehow ended up in room 204. As I walked in, I noticed everyone was staring at me. Wait, this doesn't look right, I thought, but it was too late. The professor, mid-lecture, paused and said, "Can I help you?" "Oh no, I'm in the wrong class, aren't I?" I said, feeling my face turn red. People around me laughed a little as I quickly apologized and left the room, feeling super embarrassed. When I finally found the right classroom, I quietly took a seat at the back, hoping no one would notice me. I let out a deep breath and whispered to myself, "Please, let this be the right room." Luckily, it was. The rest of the lecture went by in a blur, but I couldn't stop thinking about my earlier mistake. What a way to start the day, I thought. After class, I decided to grab a coffee to shake off the embarrassment. At the campus cafe, the line was long. I sighed and looked around, only to hear the girl behind me say, "I've been lost 3 times today. This place is like a maze." I turned around and, without thinking, said, "Oh my God, same. I walked into the wrong class just now." She laughed, and suddenly, it didn't feel so bad. Her name was Sarah, and we ended up chatting while we waited for our drinks. When I finally got my coffee, I felt a little lighter. Maybe today won't be so bad after all, I thought. Later, while sitting on a bench outside, I decided to double-check my campus map. As I was doing that, I heard a loud crash behind me. I turned around to see someone who had just knocked over a stack of bikes parked nearby. It was a pretty chaotic scene, with bikes falling like dominoes. The person looked embarrassed and quickly started picking them up. I couldn't help but chuckle, thinking, at least my day isn't going that badly. A few other students nearby started helping. It was a funny reminder that everyone was having their own awkward first day experiences. As the day wound down, I made my way back to my dorm, replaying the day's events in my head. Sure, I'd had a few embarrassing moments, but I also made a new friend. Well, that was something. It wasn't the perfect first day, but it was real, and maybe that was better. College was going to be full of ups and downs, and this was just the beginning. I couldn't wait to see what tomorrow would bring, awkward moments and all.
Up next, the third story. Let's slow things down. Lila takes us through her peaceful morning routine. It's calm, clear, and full of small habits that make a big difference in daily life.
The moment my alarm goes off, I know I have a choice. Start my day with purpose or waste time lying in bed. To stay productive, I get up as soon as it rings. I take a deep breath, stretch my arms, and roll out of bed. The first thing I do is drink a big glass of water. My body has gone hours without water. So hydrating first thing helps me wake up properly and feel refreshed. While I drink, I try not to check my phone right away. I know that if I start scrolling, I will go down a rabbit hole of notifications and lose track of time. Next, I do some light stretching. It helps loosen my muscles and improve my blood flow after lying down all night. If I have a little extra time, I do a quick workout. A few jumping jacks, squats, or stretches help me warm up for the day. Even a short burst of movement makes a big difference in my energy levels. After that, it is time to take a shower. A warm shower helps me relax while waking me up at the same time. I know some people take cold showers for an energy boost, but I prefer something refreshing without shocking my system. Once I am clean and feeling fresh, I get dressed for the day. Even if I am staying home, I put on something put together. Dressing properly makes me feel more focused and ready to work. If I stay in baggy sweatpants and an oversized hoodie, I will feel sluggish all day. Now, it is time for breakfast. A productive morning starts with good fuel. I keep my breakfast simple but filling, something like a toast, smoothie, or yogurt with fruit. I make sure to eat something that gives me steady energy instead of just grabbing junk food or skipping breakfast altogether. Running on empty never helps with productivity. After eating, I take a few minutes to map out my day. I do not overwhelm myself with a long list of tasks. Instead, I choose 3 main goals that I want to accomplish. Focusing on just a few key tasks keeps me on track and makes me feel more in control of my day. Before diving into work, I take a short moment for myself. I might read a few pages of a book, write in my journal, or simply enjoy my coffee in silence. This small habit helps me transition into work mode without feeling rushed. And that is my morning routine for a productive day. It sets me up for success and helps me stay focused. Of course, some days are busier than others. But when I stick to this routine, I feel more energized, organized, and ready to take on the day.
Mid-episode announcement. If you'd like to watch the visuals of these stories and learn the vocabulary and phrases, check the description below. You'll find links to the full videos with explanations and a speaking practice session to help you use the language more confidently. Now, the 4th story. This one's bursting with color and fresh air. A girl shares why spring makes her feel alive, happy, and totally in love with the world again. Get ready to feel the sunshine through her words.
All right, let's be real. If you ask me what my favorite season is, my answer is spring. Seriously, who doesn't love spring? After the cold, gray months, spring comes along and changes everything. It's like the world gets a fresh start. First of all, let's talk about the weather. Spring weather is perfect. Not too cold like winter, nor too hot like summer. It's just warm enough to be comfortable. You can wear your favorite light jacket and go outside without worrying about freezing or sweating. It's the best time to meet up with friends or go for a walk in the park. And speaking of parks, let's talk about nature in spring. Wow, nature really comes alive during spring. The trees that were bare suddenly start growing new bright green leaves. It's like they're waking up after a long sleep. And the flowers? Oh man, they're everywhere. Pink, yellow, purple, white. You can see all these beautiful colors. It's like nature is showing off its best clothes. One of my favorite things is walking through a garden or park and seeing all the flowers blooming. Tulips, daffodils, cherry blossoms, they're so pretty. But it's not just flowers. If you look up at the sky, you might notice more birds flying around. Birds start coming back in spring, and you can hear them singing in the morning. Have you ever heard birds chirping early in the morning? It's a nice sound to wake up to. Spring brings everything back to life, with the world buzzing with activity. Another cool thing about spring, the days start getting longer. It's great because you have more time to enjoy the day. After work or school, you can still go outside and enjoy the fresh air. You can go for a walk, have a picnic, or just relax in the park with friends. It's like you have extra time to have fun. And let's not forget about the spring rain. Yeah, I know some people don't like rain, but I think spring rain is different. It's light and gentle. Sometimes, it's just a little drizzle that makes everything look shiny and fresh. And have you ever noticed how good the air smells after it rains in spring? It's clean, fresh, and just nice. There's even a special word for that smell, petrichor. It sounds fancy, but it just means the smell of rain on the ground. When it rains in spring, I don't just sit by the window and listen to the raindrops. I love stepping outside, feeling the light drizzle on my skin, letting it wash over me. There's something so refreshing about getting wet in the rain. It's like nature's way of cleansing the world. And I can't help but smile as I walk through it, watching everything around me come alive. Let's talk about spring animals for a moment. Birds are building nests, bees are flying around, and you might even spot a rabbit or a squirrel. Spring is a busy season for animals as they search for food, build homes, and care for their babies. It's a reminder that life is growing everywhere. Spring also feels like a fresh start. That's why many people do spring cleaning, organizing their homes, and preparing for a new season. So yes, spring is my favorite season. The weather is amazing, nature is beautiful, the days are longer, and everything feels new again. Plus, it's just a happy time. People smile more, flowers are blooming, and you can spend more time outside enjoying life. There's something special about spring that makes everything feel more alive. It's a season that gives you energy and reminds you that after every gray season, there's always a bright and beautiful spring. What's not to love about spring, right? It's hands down the best season.
And finally, the fifth story. We meet a mom who turned her daily routine into a language classroom. Her small but steady steps show how love and consistency can lead to big change.
Being a mom to a busy 5-year-old means my days are full of activities. I get him ready for school, do housework, and try to find a little time for myself. But I made a choice that changed my life. I decided to learn English. I knew it would help me feel more confident. I could talk to other parents, speak with teachers, and handle things in public. In the past, there were times that made me want to learn English. My son would come home with homework, and when he asked for help, I often didn't know how to answer. I remember feeling embarrassed when I couldn't explain a simple word or help with something basic. It happened more often than I liked. I knew I had to improve not only for me but also for my son. So I found ways to fit English learning into my busy life. In the morning while I get my son ready, I listen to English podcasts or videos. I don't always understand everything, but I keep going and make notes of new words to check later. After dropping him off, I practice speaking while I do housework. I say simple things like, I need to clean the kitchen. or I will fold the laundry. It might sound strange, but it helps me feel more comfortable speaking even when I'm alone. At lunch, I use language apps to practice vocabulary and grammar. The short quizzes are perfect while I wait for food to cook or when my son is playing. In the afternoons, when my son comes home, we watch English cartoons together. We repeat words like dog or run. It's fun for him and helps me too. I also read children's books in English to him. The simple language makes it easier for me to practice, and it's a fun way for us to learn together. Once or twice a week, I write short notes about my day, like, "Today I went to the park." Writing helps me improve my spelling, and I sometimes send these notes to a friend for feedback. On weekends, I watch YouTube videos about English grammar or pronunciation. It makes learning fun, and it helps me stay motivated. When I take my son to the park, I try to speak English with other parents. It's scary at first, but it's a great way to improve. These conversations have really helped me build confidence. At night, when my son is asleep, I spend a few minutes reviewing vocabulary with flashcards. This small habit has helped me improve a lot. Even when I text friends or look at social media, I try to write in English. These small actions help keep me focused on learning every day. Learning English as a mom hasn't always been easy, but I've learned that small, regular efforts make a big difference. Now I feel more confident speaking English in my everyday life. Whether I'm talking to other parents, speaking to teachers, or ordering food. I still have more to learn, but I'm proud of how far I've come. Those embarrassing moments are in the past. And every step forward reminds me that with hard work, progress is always possible.
Well done! You made it to the end of today's listening session. That means you just spent real time with English, and every minute counts. So don't stop here. Click the video on your screen. It's your next step, with more practice and clear explanations to help you speak better. You've got this!